Hey, what's up, gamers? Enforcer 5150 here, and I am back. As I mentioned before, we did one video so far. We did get a new laptop, and that laptop is the HP Omen. Yeah, that's right. So we ended up getting another HP Omen. This time we went with the newer 2019 version, which has the RTX in it. Now, I didn't notice this when I bought the laptop, and I may end up returning it mainly for this, but there is a Max Q on the laptop. So it's the RTX 2070 with Max Q design. I do not like the Max Q designs. I think I mentioned that before. There's some reasons why I don't like it, some reasons why I could like it. One, it says it's dedicated. It's supposed to be dedicated. However, I don't really feel like it is a dedicated one because it kind of shares it with the Intel integrated, and it kind of switches between them whenever it feels necessary. So I'll use just the integrated one that it has in there, the Intel one, when it feels like it. So I don't know. I don't know that much about the Max Q. All I know is that it does sacrifice power. So if you put up a Max Q version of like the 2070 like this and a regular 2070, most likely the regular 2070 is going to beat it out. Anyway, we have pretty much the exact same laptop, so I'm not doing an unboxing or anything like that. It's the exact same design, same everything that we did before. The only real differences are that this one has a 9th generation Intel and the other one is an 8th generation. So we have the 8790H in the old one, and we have a 9750. I'll have to double check that. I'll put it on the screen. But when I first started it up, it seemed like it was trying to use the integrated GPU. I was trying to run just the Heaven benchmark, as you see running here, and the Heaven benchmark was running about 75 frames per second, where on top here I have the same laptop but with the 1060 in it, the GTX 1060, and that was running about 110. So it was running like 40 frames per second more, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So what I ended up doing is I downloaded Tomb Raider to see what the actual differences would be. So we're gonna go ahead and run some of them benchmarks that I ran on these two. But after, I just want to say, after I did the benchmarks and have everything running, then the Max Q decided to start actually working correctly. Like right now, I'm having 231 frames per second on the Max Q and 120 on, or I'd say 180. It's kind of going up between 120 and 180. Let's see here. 144 versus 99. So they're very close as far as how we would expect them to run. But like I said, when I first ran the benchmarks, when I ran this Heaven benchmark, it was really bad. And I was like, no, this is horrible. Another thing I want to also mention with the newer 2070 Max Q version is that you get a 144 hertz display panel. It's still running 15.6 inches, so you still have the exact same, real estate, but you do get more your refresh rate. So games that actually can go over, 60 frames per second, it's definitely worth it. Now, also one of the things that you want to also remember with the RTX is that you get the RTX features. So you can get something like a DLSS, or you can get something like actual ray tracing if you're into the ray tracing. A lot of the reasons why I get this laptop, people ask me what I do with it and what they do with it and if it'll work for them. Mostly I do a lot of my 3D work and stuff like that on there. Now if you've seen my last video, or one of my last videos, I had gotten the display tablet where you can draw on your tablet and do all your 3D design work and just regular drawing and stuff like that. That will definitely work better with this one than it will with that one, even though I did not have too many problems with the old one. But anyway, we're gonna go through some of these benchmarks real quick, just to take a look at exactly what we're looking at when we go from one to the other. We're gonna keep DLSS off we're not going to use any ray tracing, but we're going to be using Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is notorious for having, you know, ray tracing and everything. It was one of their first games, but just to keep it fair between the 1060 and the RTX, I'm just going to take a quick look at these results. All right, so here we go with the benchmark. What we have on the top is the Max Q with the new i9, and the bottom one with the older i7. As you can see, like, both of them are running they're pretty much using all the GPU it can. A little bit less hertz on the top one because it's the Max Q, but you can see we're getting a lot more frames per second. Remember, on both of these, we're not using any DLSS or any, you know, RTX features on it. You know, later on, obviously, I want to do some benchmarks that's going to, you know, show some of those differences, but we're mostly going to be just taking a look at, you know, how much more we're going to get, because, you know, this laptop is obviously, you know, $300 to $400 more than the older laptop, and it's, you know, I gotta say that the 1060 is still a great laptop for gaming. It still can, you know, pick up a few things. Obviously, we're on the highest preset, so the most, you know, the most graphics are in this one. As you can see, we're only getting, like, you know, 48, 49. But if we, you know, bring down to like a high or medium, we obviously can get over, you know, 60 frames per second. Getting around 80 frames per second, you know, is pretty good. You know, an average of 80, it looks like. It looks like our lowest is 41, but I think that is actually from where I started the benchmark, my own benchmark. So we'll see at the end, you know, exactly what we're getting. But as we start going into, like, here, you know, 130s, yeah, versus, you know, 76. So we're definitely getting more frames per second and more use out of the 144 hertz monitor, or screen, I should say, on the Max Q version of this. As long as we're getting over 60 frames per second, you know, we're going to start seeing some more of the, you know, the refresh rate actually making a little bit of a difference. You know, once we get over to 144, that's where we really start seeing the difference, but we won't see that unless we go down to, like, a medium, or maybe we might be able to get there in high, maybe 120. 120 is kind of a sweet spot that I look at, but looking at the two of these, they're pretty good. I mean, when we pay about $300 more, you know, this is kind of what more we would expect. You know, we want to get, you know, 40, 50, 30 frames per second more is, I'd say, in a respectable range. But like I said, we're going to have to see how the heat, you know, works out after about a month, because that's when the heat started having problems with the original HP Omen. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to the end now, or not skip ahead, but we're going to take a look at what we have at the end here. All right, so here's our final results. We definitely see a lot more frames per second on the Max Q on the left side than the 1060 old GTX on the right side. We got about 13,000 frames rendered versus about, you know, 7 to almost 8,000. So yeah, we're definitely getting more. It looks like the minimum frames per second was definitely my problem with how I started the benchmark. But as far as these two go, I do like the stuff that comes with the old one. You have another internal drive, which is just a storage drive. This one only comes with the external 512 gigabytes, but the SSD that's in the old one, the 1060, you only get a 256. So you get double the space, but you know, you get a little bit less space for storage. I did buy this inland SSD, which it should be very fast. The people at Micro Center told me it would be faster, but inland I don't really see as a quality type product. Usually when I want to go cheaper, but this one was actually more expensive than the 1 terabyte of the other one. So hopefully we will see how this works. Installing games on it, running games off of it should be pretty good. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish this out in my final review.
All right, so apparently I lost the video of my outro and my last thoughts of this, so I'm just gonna do this while I'm actually editing. So all in all, I think this laptop is good. I would rather have the 2080 version of it, hopefully without the Max Q. The Max Q with it is actually a decent feature because it is smaller, thinner, and what I'm hoping with the Max Q is that I get a little less heat, because we did have a lot of heat problems on the 1060, on the GTX 1060, because that was not a Max Q, so that was more dedicated. Maybe because this is a lot thinner, we will be seeing some more lower temperatures. Hopefully it doesn't switch over to the Intel, which I think is what happened when I was running the Heaven benchmark. But all in all, this laptop so far is good. It's been actually 2 days since I did the video here. So I've been using the laptop. Right now I'm actually editing on this laptop and everything is running pretty good. We're about to render with it as well. I wanted to see how the rendering goes. I'll go ahead and put that in the description below. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. More gaming videos and benchmarks coming up soon. You all take care and happy gaming.